So, so 1016. Tell me, someone else from 1016. Tell me what your framework looks like. What do you guys do? What you go to? How often do you meet? What do you do together? Do you watch the lesson together? What's happening as a 10?
Lately, our 10 is we don't have our own 10 individual meeting now because we're always in the lesson. And now I can only read Zohar at 7 a.m. in the morning, but the rest of my 10 read Zohar with the BB when they read the Zohar. And then we all go to the lesson at 7:30 for prayer. We were taking 15 minutes right there during the lesson prep to go have our own private meeting, but it's better to stay in the lesson with the whole Kli. The thing is already set up. The question's already coming. We separate ourselves for 15 minutes and come back. It doesn't work. So we just stay in there. As far as having separate time, we're all day long on the chats. So unless we have a project to do, we're not having any private meetings.
Good. So 1016 sounds very wonderful. That you're working, you're doing the job between you and going to the lesson together and all that. What other 10s do we have here that can share? 10-6. All right, sure. What's going on in 10 number 6?
Go ahead, Jolita.
Hi, friends. Haven't seen you in a while. You all look great. Zohar's got a tan. Heidi looks great. Everyone else looks great. Adam, you look like you went on vacation. NA6, we have morning meetings Monday through Friday at 9:30 Eastern. I'm usually present. We read opening and closing intention, and we usually read daily direction. And sometimes it's Adrian, myself, sometimes Phyllis, sometimes Imuna. We had a woman named Amy, but she left our group. There's another meeting we have on Wednesdays. It's like 1/2 hour before Rav, because of the silent prayer and the prep. It was an hour before Rav. But what we do is we read the Zohar together, Zohar for all. Fridays we rotate moderator. Everyone takes a turn moderating the class, and this was just within our own 10. And we also do administrative meetings during either Wednesday or Friday to see if there's anything that we have to talk about as a group administratively. We also call meetings as needed for assignments that are given through BB secretaries. For lessons, we meet 1 hour every time there's a lesson, and there's usually one person in the group that screen shares, and then one person types all the questions up, and we do our own workshop together as a 10, doing that. After that, some people stay after the hour. Some people have to leave because they have kids, and they have to put them to bed and all that. They have husbands. But some people stay the whole duration, and then there's people that come to the Zohar lessons in the evening for Israel, and that would be Beatrice, and there's a few other people that do that regularly. And then we chat all the time. We're always chatting. We've got 2 or 3 chats we do. And then almost every one of us went to Congress. Next.
Amazing. All right, so we got 16 and we got 6. What other 10s do we have here? Is there another 10 for women that we did not mention, or?
There is. I don't need to know what number we are, but Annie and Galen and Heidi, they're all on tonight, and we're all in a 10 together. Does anybody know what number we are?
23.
23? Okay. All right. Yeah.
So tell us about life in 1023.
Okay.
What is your framework? What is the participation? What is happening in 1023?
All right, we meet on Thursday nights, and then during the week we meet for the lesson, but we just get on the group that's all the women and whoever can make that, and we do the daily task, and most everybody participates in that every day. And then Annie and I, we meet a couple of times a week, and I think that's it. Is there anything else?
The daily call.
Oh, yeah, the daily call. That's right. Yeah.
Daily call. And then several of us get together with Adam and read the Zohar early in the morning. Galen and I and a couple others come to that very regularly. So,
All right. Any 10s we missed? Is anyone here incorporated in the 10 with veteran students that were not in the young group?
Did Carrie, was your 10 represented? Okay. We've lost a couple, and we don't know what to do. I know there's no coercion, so how do we approach those that have kind of not coming very much or at all?
Are you thinking about them? You're praying about them? That's what Rav says. He says, the best thing you can do for a friend is think about him. If you're not thinking about them, then they'll get weak. And so that's the best you can do. And obviously, you reach out. You don't push anyone. You try to not coerce them, but create a warm, loving environment where hopefully they'll have a desire to be there. It's not them. It's the Creator who's arranging it anyway. And so, what do? We have friends that, that have been with us for many, many years. Veteran students who, people who, put together groups and put together, really, powerful, I don't even know what to call them, like pillars in our society. And they left, It's part of the game the Creator's playing with us. It doesn't feel good. It's it hurts. I mean, you want you care about them, but it's up to us to do our efforts, to put our 100% effort. The results are not up to us. In fact, we should be happy that the result's not up to us. Why should we put all the exertions into our work from morning to night and just bestowing and doing all the things that we have to do to become, follow the advice of the Kabbalists, and not be concerned with what we get from it? Here's a workshop question for you.
One is Lishma and one is Lishma.
Since I'm here today, then you just make sure there's a flow. Don't call out names. Don't say this is the order. Don't say it's alphabetical. Don't say it's from Z to A, but in a Greek alphabet. Just make sure that when someone finishes, there's someone who's talking after that, and you connect around it. Why is it important that I do all the efforts, exertions, do everything? I labor and in this path like crazy, sweat, tears, everything, blood, for the goal, and not be concerned for 1 second about what we get out of this, or whether we will get something out of it either.
We have no control over the outcome. So whatever we put into it, we should not be concerned about the outcome.
Because it wouldn't be practicing bestowal, which is what we're trying to practice. We're trying to practice bestowal without any return for benefit for our egos. So we cannot expect anything for ourselves. Otherwise, we'd be in Lo Lishma. We'd be doing it for ourselves.
Right. Egoistic. It would take us out of spirituality, essentially, and it would take us out of the goal. We're trying to go against our nature. We're not trying to go back into our old habits. And
it's like looking back on the past and creating a static thing that's no longer growing and moving and progressing, and then we're judging it. So we can only continue to exert and encourage each other.
As soon as you look around
and look at the details, and you take your eyes off the goal, and as soon as you take your eyes off the goal, you lose the intention. Once you lose the intention, then you're lost in the shuffle.
I'm just finding it hard to get to the group now. I'm just so busy. I know everybody is. Just trying to hold the intention even without meeting, just thinking of a friend.
And I think that when we don't expect results, we're kind of practicing to annul our reason to the higher reason. And so eventually it will build us to be in adhesion with the creator, with his mind, rather than trying to use our own tiny animal mind to control the outcome.
I'm just wondering if I make efforts, I exert, and the results, the perception is it's not working. I'd say, well, it's out of my control, and I've done the best I can with this. But is it possible that you're getting that kind of feedback and it's telling you, well, maybe you should do something else. Maybe you should start harder. Maybe there's something you overlooked. How do you determine that kind of thing? Didn't mean to change the subject at all. I'm just saying this is a thought that comes to me. I'm not used to, I don't like, it's an ego thing. I don't like failing, but I look and say, well, maybe there's something here. There's a message here. Maybe I didn't do this or I didn't do that. Maybe I wasn't open-minded. Maybe I didn't try to go outside the box. Maybe I should try this. So, I'm just wondering, when do you say, well, that's it?
If you're exerting and exerting and exerting, that's where your focus is, exerting. And so you're not thinking of all the things that aren't working. Basically, what's not working is really not for you to judge, because there's a bigger picture you can't see. It's faith above reason that things are actually happening. Every action is a movement from below to get every action from above. Therefore, things are happening. You just don't see it. So the other thing is, if you are sitting there worrying about all the other things that you're supposed to be doing, didn't do, fixing this, analyzing that, then you're not focused on what you could be exerting yourself on, which is just go and do it.
And that's when you recognize that there's nothing else besides him. And he does good. He does only good. He is good that does good.
That being said, that none else besides him, I've been reading it constantly over the last month or so. And isn't it really us being concerned about the outcome really him? Isn't it really us trying to do all the exertion for the goal and not being able to do it really him? Isn't it come down to us seeing that it's him and then asking him to correct that part of us? It doesn't even make sense when I said it. I know it's him, but I'm asking him to correct that part of us.
I have two questions for you. First of all, why, when you're in the middle of a workshop and someone naturally comes up with a question from the workshop, right? I mean, it happened, right? We saw that. The workshop is flowing, you're talking, and all of a sudden it just evokes a question in someone. Why do you not feel like that's part of the workshop? Why do you not feel like that's where the workshop is taking you and this is where you need to continue with it? That's number one. Don't answer that question. That's okay. We can do that later. But this is my question. If bringing contentment to the creator or being in adhesion with the creator is the goal, and I don't even know what that is, I'm not sure what obviously we came in here and we're taught that disclosure of the creator to the creature, or revelation of the creator to the creature in this world is the essence of the wisdom of Kabbalah. I'm like, okay, sign me up. Sounds like a pretty good deal for me, right? I get to reveal the creator. Yeah, I'll pay the few bucks it takes, or come for the few hours that you're saying, or I'll come to that weekly lesson. And here I am, months and months and years and hours and and gallons of sweat and tears and all that. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, so I'm supposed to all of a sudden accept that it's okay, that all I care for is that I'm on the path, that I'm getting closer to him, that I'm somehow bringing him contentment, and I'm not supposed to be wanting anything for myself? How could we possibly advance if we're looking at it in that way? And how is that there's none else besides him? Question mark. That's a workshop.
How I see it is that he put us here for our will to receive. And then he gave us concealment, and then he gave us little drips and drops of wisdom. And now we are finally finding the wisdom and implementing the wisdom.
Yeah, as we go on, the more we get corrected, the more we, I guess, are in adhesion with them, the more we can understand, the more we know, the more we have a knowledge of them. And with that, we see the concealed and it becomes revealed after the more we get corrected. And then there's 4 phases, isn't there, to get back to where we're supposed to be. I can't remember all of them, but pretty sure you do know, Zohar.
None else besides him, it seems to be infinite. Have y'all seen that picture before of the artist painting himself in a mirror, and then painting himself in a mirror, and then painting himself in a mirror? And it's like infinite, right? So when you see, oh, wait a minute, this inside of me is none else besides him, and then you're supposed to be that point of observation that's noticing this, and then you realize even the point of observation is none else besides him. And then it starts all over again. At least for me, it's been driving me crazy because it's like it's endless. It's endless, the thought of it.
And you brought up a perfect thought. Is reaction the will to receive? And so by not reacting, I'm truly observing with a cleansed vessel.
Without judgment.
I was just going to say that, with observing without any which way that I want it to go. It's not what I want. I'm just letting it happen. I'm participating by exerting effort in this program. And I have faith above reason that it's ascending us. However, I'm not the judge of ascending, descending. I have feelings. I can sense other people, what they're going through. I can pray for other people, and I'm told that that's where it's at. Get outside myself and start praying for these people that are wanting this goal so badly, and pray for them that they get it. And not worry about and judge any portion of it, and just keep doing the efforts.
And when we see that point of observance without judgment, we step back from it and see it's still none else besides him.
Yesterday you learned something in the lesson, and you now understand everything. A comes before B, 2 comes after 1, 1 plus 1 equals 2, etc., etc. You have a whole picture now that you're like, okay, now this is all making sense because I now have a full picture, and this makes sense. And this is the truth, and now let's workshop in it, and let's strengthen ourselves around it, unite around it, and connect around it. Workshop is all about adding to each other, and we're going to connect this way, and this is spiritual Partzuf, and this is the ultimate truth. If you want to be a real Kli that can reveal the light and be a place for divinity to dwell, connect under these conditions and all that. And tomorrow you come, or today you come to the lesson. That was yesterday. Today you come to the lesson, and you're told complete different truth. It's all about what should we do? Pinch each other and talk not nicely to each other, and we should ignore each other. And instead of adding, we should subtract, and we should not go in order, but on the contrary, we should speak. Whenever we hear someone speaking, we should speak over them. In fact, let's all speak at the same time and make one big mess. And if we do that, then you get it, right? Complete change of rules. Everything changed from yesterday to today. But I just got into the habit and understanding and the feeling like this is how we're doing things. How could you change this on me? What do we do at this point? And why is it good?
Don't all great Kabbalists pray to forget what they learned the day before so that they can gain? You expanded that vessel, it got filled, and then you start over with a bigger vessel. And wow, this group can hold a lot of light. Thank you.
I think that's right. What we're trying to do is infinite. So how could the learning be somehow limited? It has to come from unknown angles, and it seems to be endless angles.
And it seems like they're exercises that have a different purpose. Some of us might understand the purpose of them, and others we need to just faith above reason and do those exercises. Speaking all at once might be an attempt to get people to stop putting up little cubicle walls of speech and thoughts and to join and merge as one. In the workshop, there's a purpose behind everything that Rob gives us to do, and if he's the leader of Kabbalah, who am I that I should just be grateful that we have somebody who's challenging us and do it. Faith above reason.
Yes, sir.
I'm just, for me, I said there's three principles that never change. Everything else can change. There's none else beside him. The good that does good. And the way to understand it or connect to it is faith above reason. Everything else that goes on, to some degree, is opinion. I mean, God is, period. Everything else that I can have perceived, those were the vessels of perception I had at the time, doesn't mean it's accurate. But those three principles, I think I use them as my guide anyway.
How can we keep up the importance of the goal, keep up the importance of what we're doing when we're working in concealment, we don't see why we're doing this, we don't feel why we're doing this, and we do have our nature, as you all know well. We've got this will to receive, which expects to be receiving something. How can we wake up every day and keep marching on this path when everything that is supposed to be giving me the fuel for moving is taken away from me?
Faith above reason. We will get there eventually. Do we need anything? Do we need anything? It's not for reward.
I feel like when I get into that slump, I remember that I'm grateful for the work. I have something to do. I'm grateful for this work. This work was assigned to me. And I think, you know what? I'm glad I have something that's going to benefit humanity that I can be a part of. Thank you for this work. and I remember that there's work to do.
And the work is really, oh, sorry, go ahead, Michael.
Oh, no, go for it. You're speaking first.
The work is also to inspire the friends, to give everything to the friends, because that's where the fuel will come from. I think the only place the fuel comes from the environment. So I can never count on myself to have fuel, but if I invest everything in the environment and the friends and take care of them and only be concerned about their spiritual advancement, that in itself becomes a source of fuel. It's one of those mysterious things where that's an infinite source of fuel. That's a source that will never fail you.
That was almost something what I was gonna say, Katya. Yeah, it's pretty much just reach out to the friends and then start thinking about them when you go through all these you know, obstacles that come along the way. It's the Creator giving you a problem to overcome it, to correct yourself. So you got to kind of see these times as a gift, and you know, it's hard, but they didn't say it was going to be easy, so it's the perfect time to exert yourself and think about the friends and do some heavy praying and reach out.
I think that's right, and I keep coming back to None Else Besides Him. It says sometimes, or it says something like, sometimes we are not able to overcome by faith above reason. And then what comes from that, is actually sincere prayer, because we're so desperate and we say, hey, you're the only one that can help me out of this. Please help me out of this. And it says that those prayers are answered instantly.
Seems like that's the place that we're the closest to the Creator, not in the filling, but in the deficiency.
I don't think we ever lose everything because, and this has been stated by other people, there is that moment, and even if it's just a moment that we experience the equivalency of form, that gives us the desire to go on, even in the face of perhaps we would lose everything, but we know in faith above reason that He's right out there and He's beckoning us towards Him.
I heard from a friend one time, the Creator never gives us a task that we cannot complete.
I think I've heard this one time. Someone was explaining to me. He said, "Gary, you got to get rid of your likes and dislikes, your hopes and your fear, and your imaginary suffering, because, gee, you know, He's not answering me. I'm down in the dumps. All this. Oh, I'm suffering so much, but it's in my mind. I mean, physically, nobody's beating me. It's a matter of perception. If I could perceive things a little bit differently, I say, oh, this is great. Now I'll get over this and I'll move up another level and I'll be closer to the Creator and I'll bring everybody with me. But it depends where you are. So, you know, but I think the minute we can stop thinking about ourselves in particular and start thinking about anything that has to do with soul, cuts the tie a little bit with the ego and things. That'll give you, if you can do that, you'll receive all the energy and everything you need, because you'll be connected to the soul. And that is never ending and is continuous. You become a conduit for it. Difficult, easy to say, difficult to do.
And so when confronted with something that you would have thought was horrible before on the path, you just look up and say, what you trying to teach me today? And then He tells you.
Yeah, and don't run away from it and judge it and talk about how awful it is. Oh, God, I have so many stories I could tell you. But, you know, then I'm in the past. I'm thankful for it. I'm craving to hear Robert, and Kathy, Rick and Tracy Sorry, I have the will to receive there. I just want to hear you.
I'm sorry, and I know I shouldn't, but I'm taking notes, and by the time I get finished writing all the great insights that I'm hearing from you guys, you've gone on to another point, and I have to get into that mode. So I'll stop note taking, but but that's why I'm silent. That's what's going on with me.
I couldn't help but realize that the question that we have is really half the answer. And a lot of times we, because we are off balance, these questions that come at us from out of frickin' left field. I mean, I still have a pit in my stomach from one, 3 weeks ago. It just, it takes you to a place that you really don't want to go. And when you're forced, or when you go down there voluntarily, sometimes it's even worse. But that sense of balance is really revealing the deficiency in stopping and pausing and looking at the question, saying, "Hey, I already have half the answer." And the group provides the other parts of that answer is really the rope that takes you to the next level, like Gary was saying, climbing up that rope. And that deficiency is the motivator.
Who haven't we heard yet? Robert, come on.
It's good to hear all of you talk. So to get a sense of the answer to the questions, it's very difficult to be able to come up with an answer, but I'm glad that I can hear you guys talk about it.
It's easy when all we have to do is add to the friend before us, even if it's only a few words, because Rob will ask some simple questions, and then all of a sudden here will come a technical one about this 10 Sephirot, and like only people in the room like Tony or Zohar is going to really know the answer. But if we just add to a few words, we're not really under pressure.
So Zohar, did we pass your test?
Not my test. You need to pass. You blow me away every time, friends. You're truly amazing. I have no words to describe how magnificent the creators in your image. Really, I mean, it's very humbling to even be in your presence. Let's do a last question and wrap this up, because we already stole the prayer time, and hopefully you were praying in your heart while you were here anyway. That's it. You choked me up. I'm sorry. I don't have any more. Do a quick round. How is this week going to be different than the last week? Short answers.
More faith.
Rising the spirits of the friends more.
More dissemination.
If anything, over the past weeks and every week before this week, it seems like it gets harder and harder. So I expect it to be harder next week.
Yeah, Tom, good answer. I agree.
I was expecting nothing else besides him.
Pray harder. Think of the friends more.
Give thanks. Thanks for everything, even the hard places.
I was gonna say more gratitude and more work on the positive attitude to see the creator in everything, even if it gets harder.
with fresh eyes and ears and taste buds. Etc.
Be more attentive, be prepared, have more preparation before the actual lesson. So I'm actually focused and attentive and more conscious of what I'm doing.
More contact.
And listen, this week is going to be a listening week.
Well, as I say, man plans and plans and plans, and God laughs. So I don't know what the week's going to look like, but I'm just going to try to do more of what I know I'm supposed to do. That's it. Just, I know what I'm supposed to do. Just try to do, I'm going to try to do more of it. That's all.
All right, friends. From way out here in left field, I'll just say this, and I'm probably doing a bad quote of Rav, but I'll try to get the idea through. He asked a few days ago, he asked in the lesson, and someone was saying, a lot of the things that we're saying now, and he said, why are you so concerned with how you feel? What does that have to do with anything? And I know that that's beyond left field, but why are we so concerned with, oh, it felt good or it felt bad? What does that have to do with anything? You put your right foot forward and then your left foot forward. And when it's harder to pick up your feet, you have your friends next to you and you put your hands on their shoulders, and together you put right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot. And you go to the goal because it's that important. We get to serve the King. Not anything less than that. What's the reward? We get to serve the King. I love you guys very much.
L'chaim to that.
L'chaim.
Hi, love you too. Omar, thank you.
Shalom, friends.
Kathy, just so you know, we record this. You can always take notes from the recording if you want later.
Bye, friends.
You're right. I always forget that. Thanks, Zohar. I always forget that. Thanks.
The heat's out.
I also want
Hi, friends.